Hey, welcome to the show. Ruben, how you doing?
Happy Friday. Happy
It's
Friday night.
Friday, feeling fine, feeling good.
Picking out the Rice Krispie treats from my beard.
Oh,
That's
you're making
literally I
Rice
was
Krispie treats tonight?
my Rice Krispie treats. I had a craving all week, and I've been to the grocery store a couple of times. Didn't get the ingredients today. I did, and it's been I think a few years. It's exactly what I wanted,
Oh,
and
that's nice.
apparently what my beard wanted as well.
We're making popcorn balls tomorrow, kind of in a Halloween spirit.
I like that.
So
I
yeah,
like that.
similar idea, different grain in the gooey form. It'd be good. It'd be tasty.
Tis the season for the goo.
Tis the season for the goo. Now, is it though? I mean, what's going to happen this year? I mean, we're talking about what we're going to do with our kids. You're in a neighborhood where you probably don't see a lot of trick or treaters. Is that accurate?
Very accurate. Very
In the
accurate.
mountains?
I have a higher likelihood of seeing a ghost on Halloween where I am than a child. That's
Excellent.
not even facetious. Quite literally, more likely to see a ghost.
That's awesome. Well, welcome everybody. For those, we got 3 people viewing, and excellent. Thank you very much for coming and listening right now.
Happy
Those of you
Friday.
on
Yeah.
Periscope, we are just throwing together a little talk because we made a pact that we would squeeze in at least 3 more shows by the end of October. We got behind a bit. We want to
That's
be
good.
dedicated. We don't want to feel pressure, but we want to be dedicated. And because we're hashing out a whole bunch of things about the show, we're kind of trying to figure out what it looks like, right?
Yeah, this is sort of like watching a beta of something, a pre show. This is,
Oh,
is this a pilot? If it was going to series,
that
no.
that
This is
makes
pre
us
all of that.
that makes us sound so professional. This is the beta show, beta podcast. That's
Yeah.
great. I love it.
Yeah, this is the early testers. We're putting the feelers out, so open to feedback
So
and
those of you watching, consider yourselves guinea pigs. Feel free to throw in something in the comments and help us understand how it's going. And yeah, we'll give you a shout out. And also tonight, a little bit different than normal. We usually have a topic that we're going to get to eventually. My sister gave me some good feedback. She said last show, good show. She was very kind about it, so it was nice of her to lie. But it was really good. Uh, but it took us a little while to get to the actual topic. So surprise to my sister, we don't have a topic tonight, so no suspense. But we're gonna figure it out as we go here. We got a couple ideas, don't we?
this is the vehicle. It's sort of like on a road trip, and you're like, it took you a while to get to your destination. No, the
That's right.
destination, the road trip, the road is the trip
The
here.
journey is the destination. That's what life's all about, isn't it? I think anyone who's been on a journey can tell you that that's not actually the case usually. I mean, like the journey is its own thing, but in life, it's definitely something that we look forward to, and we know we're going to just have a really good time getting to where we're going. So, tell me a little bit about your week, Ruben.
That was very sage-like, that little bit before you veered into the tell me about your week, Reuven. That was very sage, Mark D. If you were putting on your persona, that's who you were putting on
Okay,
there.
wait a second. Did you see my Facebook page today? Are you are you are you
No,
poking
I
a
didn't
little?
see your Facebook page.
Oh, I thought you were giving me a little poke there. Fun, because there was a. I did one of those silly Facebook. What does your profile tell you should be, or something like that? And it said I should be a priest. It was like, and there was like a half cut of me, like the profile picture of me holding my baby, like when he was younger, and I'm wearing like a suit jacket, I guess. But and then there's like a guy who's like really priest like praying very hard, like he didn't look like a priest. But anyway, somebody I think someone there was about a bantering going back and forth. It was definitely fun. But anyway, I thought you maybe saw that and were giving me a little jest. So no intention to
No,
be
no.
sage like that was a mistake.
Sage-like, not priest-like.
That's right.
Not
Different.
priest-like. I view it differently. But I would see more sage-like than priest-like. Definitely, I
All
don't
right.
think I'd
All
ever
right.
put you in the priest category.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So the week it was an intense week. I would say emotionally, it ran the gamut. It was intense at work. It was a sort of more intense than I was expecting, but I was expecting a week of some intense focus. And then there was other things happening and sort of in the peripheral of my professional life that was both exciting at the first part of the week. I'm going to be very elusive. I realize
Okay.
it's very elusive and non-specific. It was very exciting at the start of the week. Got some very good, exciting news that really just lit me up, and I felt glowing from that. And then it f- changed and evolved throughout the week to increased anxiety
Oh.
and rejection of the same thing that I was excited about earlier. By the way, nothing had changed from the time that I was feeling excited
Ah.
on Tuesday from when I was feeling, even on the following day and Thursday, feeling a sense of rejection. The rejection was
Right.
entirely derived from myself, but I was feeling it, and I was feeling it really deeply. So that hung over the sort of the second half of my week.
It's a good awareness, though. Were you aware in the moment that it was about you, or is that a reflection in hindsight?
I knew it was partially about me. I was also trying to ease myself from getting the news I was not wanting to get. So I was preparing myself both potentially for what I was excited about earlier and also the reality of maybe it's not going to go that way. Maybe, the outcome is going to go in a different direction. And how do you prepare for that? So I prepare, or I have a trend of preparing by diving more into either the negative or deflecting or looking for reasons why that
Right.
wouldn't have been as good or what I was excited for, but I was still feeling it really deeply. Uh, for most of really Wednesday, Thursday, and then today I sort of was like, okay, no, I got sort of the little bit of additional information, and I'm like, okay, good. That was really just me. And
You're
maybe
like, give
it's
it up,
true. A little
Ruben.
bit's true.
Stop
It's yeah,
stop hanging on to this feeling.
literally, literally. It was sort of that was my late week plague that was weighing me down. What about yourself?
Oh, it's this was one of those weeks where it flew by and I can't recall what the heck happened. I think I guess the last time we talked was Sunday, so now it's Friday. Next thing
Hmm.
you know, it's Friday. I had some stuff that was going on today that I was kind of waiting for all week. So I was doing the opposite. It was like you were dreading the results of the past, and I was kind of looking kind of to the future and trying to get things done that were needed to be done. And
No, I was dreading the future. I wasn't looking forward to the future because I was expecting the future to
you
be
having
not what I.
expectations.
Yeah, you're
Well,
right. It was all expectations. I
excuse
had
my
no
my
indication that
language, but isn't
anything.
that just shit the way that goes? It's like, and it's always worse
Hmm.
than we think it's going to be, right?
Always, absolutely, without a doubt.
So that's it. I spent that time probably about Wednesday, Thursday in that space of, oh man, what is going to happen? How's it going to work? And am I going to get through it? And blah blah blah. And to my head was just completely twisted. And then I just, like you said, I kind of remembered my practices, some things I do, went back and did them, got myself centered and grounded. My partner was very supportive midweek, and that got me out of it. And it's one of those things I was kind of dreading it in a way, and then it kind of just was that today was the day, and next thing you know, nothing even really happened. It didn't even, and then that was a little disappointing because I was like, I spent all that time, and I could have easily.
So, would you say it was expectations as well?
Everything's expectations, man.
That-
Damn, it's
that's
like,
the title. That's the title.
oh.
Expectation reminds me of the Mad TV sketch, the running lowered expectations, the dating segment. Remember Mad TV?
Yeah,
Lowered
I do remember. I'm
expectations.
wondering how many of the people listening right now remember Mad TV. Probably people know what it's called, but like to
I
actually
had a
remember it.
very LA exciting moment that brought me back to early Mad TV days when I first moved to Los Angeles. I was eating a sandwich,
Oh,
well-known
okay.
sandwich shop in my neighborhood. Sitting beside me was Phil Lamar from Mad TV. And if you don't know who Phil
Oh,
Lamar is, you can look him
he
up.
was
He
in the
was
later years a little bit there, wasn't he?
no, he was at the very beginning. UPS
He was
guy
one of the
was among
original
his
years. Okay, right.
characters. Yeah, he was with Alex Bornstein when she was first on the show. Um, and I had to sneak a photo to send to my brother because we used to enjoy watching that
With him
show.
or of him?
Well, no, just of him eating a sandwich. I don't like to bother people. I like to want to be like,
Hey,
look who
look,
I'm
he's
eating lunch with.
here. Take a bite.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Right, exactly. But he knew right away. My funny enough, we always joked about the UPS guy character on the show. So
Right, of course.
yeah, now my brother's a courier, so it's yeah, that's
Full
life
circle.
imitating art,
Full
full
circle.
circle.
Full circle. Circle of life. I'm not
Yeah.
going to sing for you though. Well, that's good. Okay,
Save
so
that
yeah,
for the finale. Save that for the
save that for the ending.
run
And
the
then
credits once Mark.
lose the 2 or 3 people watching. So I won't sing, don't worry, stick with the show. We're talking about expectation right now. That's what we ended up getting on here. Let's talk a little bit about expectation. So how does it affect your life? So we talked about how it passed in the past week. Tell me a little bit more about where it goes for you. What happens?
So I think it's hard. I'm a cerebral person, so I overanalyze and sort of deconstruct situations or possibilities and hypotheticals. It's just a normal way of how I process things in my life. So I was doing that, I think, to an intense degree. I believe I was doing that to a degree this week that it actually made me physically sick, if I'm being honest with you.
Oh, really? Like the
I have
nerves and like
everyone
nauseousness?
well, for me, it's always in my stomach. I think
Oh,
everyone
okay.
has a different place they physically manifest their stress.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah.
And for me, it's always been in my stomach. At a very early age, I was diagnosed with IBD, irritable bowel disease, because
All
that is
right.
where I've always met, literally has been the
Sounds like
first
there's something there with that. Yeah, okay. I gotcha. Yeah.
absolutely. So that's been the thing that I've been more or less focused on since I was 8 years old, on how to move stress out of there or
Get
reduce
past
it
it.
in other
Right.
ways, get past it. It's hard because naturally that's where my body wants to put it. So that really was where it all came forward. I didn't even realize how much I was holding on to some of this, or how much it was an impact to me, I think, on Tuesday. And it was really when I woke up Wednesday, my stomach wasn't feeling well. I pushed through work that morning. I sort of took a chill afternoon where I was sort of working, but not really, sort of just in too much pain to be very productive.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah, it was a rough week, and then like 25% better each day. And like, so yesterday I think it was like 50, and today I'm like 75.
Oh, good.
Yeah, so I'm definitely coming out of it, but it's interesting how, you know, the emotions, thoughts, expectations can physically manifest itself and impact your life in such really debilitating ways, potentially, if you allow it and aren't aware of it. And this was a week where I could have certainly been more aware.
Gotcha. On Facebook, where Sakil's saying that he's also a stomach person, debilitating. So you're talking about being debilitated here, essentially. That's what
Yeah,
I'm hearing, right, Ruben?
yeah.
Yeah, we hear you. Thanks for commenting, Sakil. Also, Jen, our faithful follower, she's back. Thanks a lot for tuning in, Jen. Sakil, if you're still around, what do you do? Give a comment to us. How do you deal with that? How do you get through that? What do you do? You were talking about that, Ruben. You have your own techniques. I mentioned it too. Like when I'm in that place, I got to go back to practice, right? Like it's the things you got to remember to go back to ground yourself. So I'm doing 2 things right now. Meditating, which is sort of an obvious one. I'm doing meditation every morning for the
Good for
3
you.
days where I was really struggling. I realized that it's just 10 minutes each morning. It seems to make such a difference. It's so crazy how much it makes a difference.
It does, but isn't what funny is, I don't know if you're at all like me. Just to sometimes the act of trying to get into it, knowing you should do it, is just like, oh, I'm not in the mood, and it's like
Uh,
you do it and you're so happy, but just trying to get into it some days is
that's right.
a
Yeah,
chore.
and that's actually why I'm doing Wim Hof. I don't know if you've heard of Wim Hof. I feel like you probably have. I don't know if everybody else has. Wim Hof is this cool Dutch dude who he's like the master of the cold. He uses breathing techniques to overcome cold extremes, and he's not actually trying to beat the cold. What he does is uses cold to measure where he's at in terms of anxiety and nerves and excuse me, your whole system. So if cold bothers you, then you're probably irritable, right? But if you're grounded, you can get through that kind of nervous system switch. And you probably heard about people taking cold showers, etc. But there's one specific technique that isn't really a meditative technique, but it brings oxygen to your body, calms your nervous system. And I've been doing that. It's about a 2.5 minute practice to get through the whole exercise. And then my mind's calm. And then sometimes I'm ready to meditate, or sometimes I'm just ready to move right on. And it doesn't mean things don't seep back into my mind, and I don't find myself like getting kind of furry brained again. But those are my 2 practices. So I
Wim
know
Hof is definitely getting really popular. I have quite a few friends that are involved in it. If you're not familiar with it, look him up. Really interesting character, really fascinating life story, I think, as well, personally. If you're only familiar with him through the Gwyneth
Goop.
Paltrow Netflix series Goop, yeah, just actually, that might have been the best segment they did on that program. That
I
was
think it was, yeah.
a crap
No
program.
judge, but it was
Yeah,
crap.
that was
No
the
judge.
best segment, but it wasn't even as good as it would have been seeing him through another channel. My friend, funny enough, because I'd say about a handful of friends that are really into it and regularly incorporate that within just their daily or several times a week practice.
Yeah, yeah.
One of
I
my
do it at
friends,
least 5 times a week.
yeah, that's sort of what they're all with that same level of regularity. One of my friends, it's how he realized he had COVID prior to getting a positive result on a test. It's he
Oh, wow.
previously used to be able
Like
to
a
hold
lung
his
issue?
breath doing Wim Hof for a minute and a half. He could do like hold his breath for a minute and a half, and then it became suddenly within what seemed overnight 45 or 50 seconds. He was just not able to hold it for longer. So
Right.
literally he was cut in half what he was used to. Now 45 seconds would still be
Some people are like, "Wow, that's
exceptionally long
amazing."
for an average person, especially if you hadn't been into a practice. But if you had been training and doing that as part of your regular work, and a minute and a half was normally just what you could do without pushing too
Blinking,
hard,
right?
and suddenly you're like gasping at 50 seconds. And then yeah, that's how he actually
It
got a
it's
positive
actually
result. It's
it's a
crazy.
really interesting thing. So, please don't do this just because I'm saying it. It's essentially a hyperventilation,
Hmm.
technique, and, you do a cycle 3 or more times. I usually do 3, and essentially, the first cycle I'm about you hold your breath at one point, and you on an exhale and then on an inhale, and, the first time I'm always around 45 seconds, and by the 3rd time, I'm almost 2 minutes. And it's actually
Wow.
crazy. So I can actually really associate how your friend must have understood that something was a little different, right? You're kind of feeling just a little bit different, So you gotta check that out. I'm glad they're doing okay now.
Doing all right. Still recovering. I think just out of the 14 days post last symptom and everything. So they're out of it now. But the symptoms from I've had two friends in the last week and a half get a positive diagnosis. No one that I'm in direct contact with, but people still close friends within
Right.
my circle.
Associates. Yeah.
Well, normally I would be closer, but I'm not
Right.
really getting close to anyone
For
right
that
at
reason.
the
Right.
moment. And two things that was I thought was really interesting. A, it just seems like it's more common as we hear on the news. More people are getting it because it's just more like I have had a lot of more direct experience with it this week as well. Um, so my brother's waiting on the results right now. He was in contact with someone at his work that, unbeknownst to them, they all wear masks. But then the next day, that colleague got a positive result, so he had to
Oh yeah.
go home and quarantine. So three people within the last week. It's kind of interesting. I don't like to dwell on the topic, but it's definitely out there. And with the exception of my brother, everyone had let their guard down at some moment and just like, oh, we had some friends over. That was
Oh
the
right.
one time we had friends
So
over.
funny how that's like the thing that happens. Well, if we
Yeah.
want to dwell on that, I'm gonna just mention Sakil has responded. Thanks a lot. I'm going to read it out loud. Hope that's okay. I imagine it is since it was a live comment. Last time it came out is when I knew I needed to break up with my last partner. It manifests in things I know I need to do. And then not in my stomach is the fear, anxiety of the unknown of what will follow. I also meditate. Cool. I'm currently undergoing RTT therapy to understand it all better. So that's an interesting thing. It's about listening to your body. Remember, we talked about saying no to yourself last week. And I think that's kind of in line with that. I think listening to your body, listening to what's happening inside. Anxiety is a thing and it's triggered by something, but it's not just like, oh, I got to get over this or get through the thing that's bothering me. It's like, what's going on for me? And I gotta say, like I'm overweight, right? And so for me, it's like the stomach thing's a different thing. Instead of like a reaction, it's sort of like a protection, I guess. Like it's like this thing's bothering me. I'm gonna go and like do something that's gonna kind of make it padded. It's like literally the padding to protect me.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
an interesting kind of thought about that. Sakil, way to be aware of that. Congrats, man. Like that's super awesome.
That's a really interesting
And
piece, I think, of insight just in general, really, about how, in his case, it's his stomach as well, but how that manifests, how your body responds to knowing what you need to do, even often before you're willing to acknowledge or accept that. In that case, he
that's
mentioned
right.
a breakup, but whatever that might be, and obviously, so often in those situations, the easiest thing to do is often the most challenging as well, and it's easy to just stay there, and you could be easily just complacent and continue and sort of easy in that existence, but to actually take some action, um, that's challenging. But it's also,
That's
that's what we hold on to.
that. Well, that's the step, right? So we're talking about expectations. We're talking about the effects and the negative effects of not taking steps or knowing that you need to and you're not deciding to. And then that's it, right? Like that's the bridge right there. Do the thing, right? So you just do it, like just get into the thing that you need to do. Um, and then deal with the outcomes. Like the feelings we're having, the sickness we're talking about, gaining weight makes makes there's medical issues with that. But if you just step into what you're doing and then deal with the outcomes, even if you fail or bomb, at least you tried and you didn't go through all the other, turmoil. And if you're self-aware, especially like someone like Sakil here, who's talking about stuff that a lot of people aren't able to recognize, that's awesome. Like I'm really proud of him. And it's like if you have that awareness, then you get to reflect on what went wrong and learn and be better, and that's awesome. Like fuck, that's way better than feeling sick.
It's
That's
interesting your story, Mark. You were talking about weight, and I was remembering a friend of mine who had weight was always something that he was grappling with his life, at least for the time that I had known him, for a decade. And he was perpetually single during that time. And he was a chef. He loved making food. His
oh yeah,
job was making food. And he worked in a community center, so he was truly serving the community. But he was trained in a true classical fashion, so they were getting really top grade cuisine, far beyond normally what would be served on the menu of a community center, because he was really passionate about what he did, and he put that into
right.
the menus he put together. But he also enjoyed the fruits of his labor, so to speak, as many chefs do.
That's
Um,
right. Yeah. Well, you're
right,
tasting
and
all day.
right, exactly. I mean, it could be certainly a risk of the profession. But what was interesting is when he finally met his partner, now wife, and he hadn't dated at all during that time. Within 2 years, most of that weight, because his weight was padding to protect from what he was fearing and building of himself for rejection.
Mm,
And in his
right.
case, that was what he was doing. And he literally was always active. He was always doing CrossFit before. He was always active. He just couldn't. It was just part of his genetic makeup. There was nothing he could do. He ate overall really healthy. He was really aware of the mind body effect. But within 2 years of this relationship, he shed it to almost look unrecognizable.
Hmm.
Was unbelievable in that situation. Unbelievable. He also
Not
cut off all his
surprising.
old friends, and I think he joined a cult. But let's not talk about the rest. He shed the other thing and gained.
Well, like it's funny because I was going to use the word love in there, right? So, and you're,
Yeah,
anybody can have a perspective on what's going on, but whether it's the gain weight or joining a cult, I mean, there's going to be human elements of that, right? Like of human aspects. So, what I see or what I hear, and even in the cult piece,
yeah,
he found a place where he felt like he belonged, right? So,
yes, yes,
and absolutely, I'm gonna come right out and be honest and say I put on weight when I feel like I'm either not belonging or I'm in the wrong place. Like Sakila also like knowing not about my partner, but other challenges in my life where I know I should be taking different steps and doing something different. And even when I'm self-aware, it's like it's kind of like a weird curse. It's like I know I shouldn't eat this wing, but it's like it just happens, right? And it's not because I can't avoid the wing. It's because I'm avoiding the other thing. I'm
right, right.
expending the no I'm telling myself on the wrong aspect of my life, and I think that's a lot of people can really relate to that. I think, and it's not just about food or joining a cult or I'm not saying falling in love is going to solve all your problems. Some relationships can have their ups and downs, absolutely. But it is about understanding where you're at and shifting out of that space. And that's, I appreciate this conversation. I think it's going to be a motivator for me. I think we're going to be able to have this conversation in a couple months, and then we'll go back and look at where that expectation stuff came in for me.
I was just gonna say, especially because as we fall into the colder months, that's a shift for a lot of people as well, where we might have been more naturally predispositioned to go outside and just be generally
Right.
active within our day to day. We're more likely to sit and lounge and lay back and relax and stay inside and not be as mobile. So we have
That's
to
right.
force ourselves to be a bit physical. And that's for me. That's if I didn't have the IBD, I would I would probably have a weight thing. I just don't absorb my food, so I have a new issue. Uh,
All right. Let us know if we're
but
going TMI here. I'm talking about my overweightness. You're talking about your
I think
unabsorptions.
it's all what we have. Everyone
I,
has their
I,
thing. Is
this is
my
I'm
point.
totally joking. I know we can all relate to it, right? Like that's the interesting thing about human body functions. They're all human body functions. Like whether it's dry mouth or whether whether it's your stomach issues or whatever it might be, we're all dealing with stuff. And it's so funny when we think about the people we feel like have it together, and then you sit down and you have a really intimate conversation with those people, you discover these things that you're just like, oh my goodness, I can't believe that. Like that's
Never meet your idols for that reason.
is that
Oh, it's so
true?
true. You don't
Let's
want
talk
to
about that for a
humanize
second.
someone that you deeply let's say it's an artist you deeply respect, okay, a
Okay.
musician or someone that you feel has had some great influence in your life. Okay, I'm sure you could easily come up with a list of
Pick up
3
someone. Right.
artists that come to the top of the list. Then in your mind, you might have even already become friends with. You know, if you'd met them and it was the right time, there might be some synergy there. They're similar. They spoke to you, and
Right.
these are people. These are flawed individuals, just like you and I, that have their own challenges, but not the way that they project themselves. The way that they're projecting themselves as the artist that they want to be projecting. So meeting the person is, oh, you're suddenly realizing, oh, this person is nothing but ego. And I thought that person was the pinnacle of humility,
Right.
and being in tune, and the music so sensitive. And it turns out in that moment they had something else going on in their life, so they sort of waved you off or whatever it might have been. But I think it's good advice. You don't need to meet your idols. Respect the art, respect the influence. But I think it's an important line to have, especially in the internet age when those lines are blurred more than we ever have before between sort of celebrity and persona and how that
Yeah,
our
you
life.
think about people who can interact with their heroes now. Like that's kind of crazy, Like John Wayne on the big screen can be someone you can tweet at and they might respond, right? Like
Or you pay to get them to say happy birthday to your aunt on using Cameo. I mean, I'm not
we
John
did
Wayne.
for my mom actually. That's funny that you brought that up.
Right, yeah, who did you do? Who did you go with?
I don't know who they were. My sister picked them. They were from a reality show. I can't remember. I didn't watch the actual
You wouldn't
show.
know
So
who it was. Yeah, yeah, right.
yeah,
Is
I think
that
it was like a
right?
honeymoon show or something or newlywed show. I can't remember.
Yeah, definitely a lot of those shows. That's a great thing for them to do. But if you don't know the show, they're basically a celebrity because you're not, not familiar with who they are. But for the person,
Yeah.
it's a fun gift.
Yeah, no, my mom loved it, and I think it's a really neat idea. I think it's totally cool. Uh, really great point. Sakil joined in again and talked about courage, which is really important, but also compassion with ourselves if we can't do it at that exact moment. What a
Mm,
great point. Thank you for that, because that's something that we can help remind ourselves and just remember that it's okay if you can't get past it. Like don't build the extra anxiety because you know
mm.
where you're at, you know where you're stuck. Thank you for that. I'm going to use that for sure.
I think
And that's an
it comes.
absolutely important piece.
It is, but it goes back to the foundation of it, which is really kindness to yourselves. We're so much more forgiving of each other than we are to ourselves. And I think it's, as much as I'm more likely to I'm certainly more inclined to be forgiving to others than I would to myself. And that's, I think, an important thing as part of all of it is just being aware. A great point.
Absolutely. That's great.
Did you dim the lights over there? It looks like the light
I don't know
changed.
what happened. I think it depends on, can you hear me clicking? Cause what I'm doing is
I don't hear it.
our high tech show here. We don't have an assistant or anything like that. So sometimes I have to run the show a bit and clicking
Spoiler.
around. And so does it look better now? It's because I'm on a pet website that's white, like big white.
Yeah, this is a bright light that's coming at me from this monitor. It's really illuminating.
That helps, eh? Um, So I'll try to leave this one on half the screen. The other problem is most of our viewers are on my personal Facebook page right now. The app we're using, or all apps apparently, don't let you see the chat in line inside the app. You have to go to the Facebook page to respond and see the chat. So I have to do
They
I
really
only
like
have one
losing you.
monitor. Yeah, well, it's a Facebook thing, I think, from what I understand.
Oh, yeah. That's true. Actually, Facebook does that
You
with
can only do it. You can
things.
only do it on business pages, and so please go watch the show on Positive Insight for now, and we will have a Facebook page by the end of the month because we promised we would.
That's true. That was the goal, and I'm standing behind that goal. I
And
feel like that's
I
how
think we
I should be
should. Yeah,
exiting the autumn and heading into winter.
absolutely.
Since we've been talking about it since summer, so it's been like, a full season has now elapsed.
Just want to quick shout out to Simulated Jess on Twitch. Thanks for watching. Ruben and I both know her. Hey, how's it going, Jess? And also on
Are we getting the simulated version or the real version of Jess watching?
probably I think it's the real one, the real simulated version.
The real simulation, okay, as long as it's authentic.
She's got a great show on Twitch. Go look for Simulated Jess, all one word, 2 S's. Really enjoyed it. It's a lot of fun if you're into streaming. She plays fun games. She's hilarious. I love it. And on Facebook, we got Sakil and Jen, as I said. Thank you very much. I just thought I saw someone else. And sorry. And Cesar. Thanks, Cesar. Hola, ¿cómo estás? And my Spanish is horrible.
Well, I'm deep in the country and my internet, I think, is fading. I don't know how it looks for you, but deep in
it's in and out, but we can hear you okay. It's fine.
As long as you can hear me in crystal clear audio.
Yeah, part of the issue is that I actually have to keep the Facebook page. So the more tabs you have open, the worse it is. I wanted to show, what do you think about showing a little video? It's 4 minutes. Maybe it's too long. Maybe we can do part of it. It's the Alan Watts Life is Not a Journey. Have you seen that before?
It's been a while, I think, since I've seen any Alan Watts, but I've likely have seen this clip because I'm very familiar with the body of work. Let's see the clip.
Okay.
Cut to the clip, Mark. Cut to the clip.
I don't know how to do this. I'm really hoping this works because
we're cutting to a clip.
Well, sometimes the video sound doesn't play. I did a whole broadcast once where I watched a video sound and it didn't, or I watched a video and it didn't work. I was like supposed to be reviewing a video. Okay, so if you're in our chat,
you were doing like a live mime.
It was me. It was just me talking about a video with no sound. So if you are in our chat, please drop a line. Let me just get in here 1 sec. Drop us a line if you can't hear the video. Okay, ready? Here we go. We're gonna give it a try.
Cut to the video.
As soon as I understand how to do it, I will. There we go.
Oh great! I'm gonna say it. Cut to the video
now.
I don't really hear it.
You don't hear it at all?
No.
That was a fail. I wonder if they can hear us.
They must be able to hear us. Can you speak it through me?
Or just say what Alan Watts is saying.
Yeah, can you just say that? Because I guess it's less about the visuals in this case.
Okay. So
just walk us through what's happening.
Earth is in space. No necessity for it whatsoever. Just say whatever's in front of it. Now I know there's probably a setting I can change, and I don't have that right now. So we're just gonna flip back out while I figure it out.
Did you enable audio? You have to click the audio.
Do you know where to do it?
When you're sharing your screen, you stop this share, and then when you're sharing the screen, you select share audio. It should be a toggle. Wait, I'm in Mac land, but it should be on there.
Yeah. You're right. There it is. Share audio. Bam.
Yeah,
okay,
that's what it was.
We're gonna try this again. Hopefully, we haven't lost everybody.
I'm excited. I'm not even gonna narrate. I'm just gonna watch.
There we go. Okay, so we'll see how it goes. I might skip. Wait, we just lost 3 viewers.
Ought to arrive at.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
But that it is best understood by analogy with music. Because music, as an art form, is essentially playful. We say you play the piano. You don't work the piano. Why? Music differs from, say, travel. When you travel, you are trying to get somewhere. One doesn't make the end of a composition the point of the composition. If that were so, the best conductors would be those who played fastest. And there would be composers who wrote only finales. People go to a concert just to hear one crashing chord, because that's the end. Same way in dancing. You don't aim at a particular spot in the room. That's where you should arrive. The whole point of the dancing is the dance. Now, but we don't see that as something brought by our education into our everyday conduct. We've got a system of schooling which gives a completely different impression. It's all graded. And what we do is we put the child into the corridor of this grade system with a kind of, come on, kitty, kitty, kitty. And yeah, you go to kindergarten, you know. And that's a great thing, because when you finish that, you'll get into first grade. And then, come on, first grade leads to second grade, and so on. And then you get out of grade school, and you've got high school, and it's revving up. The thing is coming. Then you're going to go to college. And by Jove, then you get into graduate school. And when you're through with graduate school, you go out to join the world. And then you get into some racket where you're selling insurance. And they've got that quota to make. And you're going to make that. And all the time, the thing is coming. It's coming. It's coming. That great thing, the success you're working for. Then when you wake up one day about 40 years old, you say, my God, I've arrived. I'm there. And you don't feel very different from what you always felt. By expectation. Look at the people who live to retire and put those savings away. And then when they're 65, they don't have any energy left. They're more or less impotent. And they go and rot in an old people's senior citizens community. Because we've simply cheated ourselves the whole way down the line. We thought of life by analogy with a journey, with a pilgrimage, which had a serious purpose at the end, and the thing was to get to that end, success or whatever it is, or maybe heaven after you're dead. But we missed the point the whole way along. It was a musical thing, and you were supposed to sing or to dance while the music was being played.
It's a good reminder, eh? Just
Bravo.
dance.
That was a good reminder.
Oh man, you know, and it's like, love that video. It's called "Life is not a journey, but life is the journey," is what I would say. That's how I'd phrase that one. I'm just gonna take that off. There we go. So yeah, you know, it's just a real interesting thing. It's like you got to remember to enjoy what's going on, what you're doing, and always be
Good reminder.
enjoying what's happening. I've always find that retirement thing interesting. My partner and I have slightly different views on it. I 100% agree with, let's not just wait till we're retired to have fun. I don't always remember that, but I know it's important. And sorry, my lights have died here. And I know that essentially every moment should be fun if you can. And at the same time, I actually am pretty happy that, you know, there's a pension coming down, because if I can get, you know, out of the workforce and enjoy life earlier and know that I'm secure, then there's this like security. So it's such a strange thing, because the third thought, which is absolutely the end of this thought, is like jump into your fullest right now and just break free. Why worry about the security at the end? Be secure in who you are and what you're doing, and love what you're doing right now. And that's the dance. That is when I think a person is dancing. And yeah, absolutely an objective I'm working towards. I'd love to be at that point. You know?
I want to be dancing again, Mark.
What was the movie?
I want to be dancing.
Good. There was that movie. Oh, it was Dazed and Confused, where he's in the car. He's like, I just want to dance. That was like one of the best lines.
Yes.
Got beat up. See, it's like life beat him up, and then he was like, I just want to dance. And dancing's such a cure.
That's what it is.
I went to I went to I just thought about living your fullest life. I was just talking about that a second ago, which is kind of an interesting little trendy type thing, I think, a bit, but also very real. And I went to a Akashic Records psychic reader. Do you have any idea what the Akashic Records are?
No.
I don't know if I can explain it right, but there was it was a phase where I was looking for anything for answers. So Akashic Records are about all of existence and the records of your future and your past all together. And there's people who can read those records. I can't remember the name of.
It's in a card catalog, or how are they? Where are these stored? Like, I'm going back to the old library.
It's like a psychic, mystical card catalog. I can't remember the name of the gent who was like a philosopher.
But it's not using like tarot. Really, it's its own thing.
It's its own reading type thing, but probably, I mean, many people would just associate it with a similar type, tarot reading. Like, you have to be able to see into the ether to be able to read it. And she was doing a lot of past life things. It was a group circle. My
grandfather used to always talk about the internet being in the ether.
Right. I think it is. Right? I don't know which one's right. I don't know which one's right. It's just like in the ether. It's over there. But I finally said, hey, listen, aren't Akashic Records supposed to go both ways? Can you tell some of us about our futures? What is it? And she said, well, and she answered right away. She said, you're meant to heal people through helping them dance. And I was like, whoa, crazy. And, I was wearing my raver hoodie and my raver fat pants. So it was kind of like, yeah, that's a good thing to pick for that guy. But, it's like, I always think about that. I was like, wow, I wonder if I should start getting into helping people do like, somatic movement or, whatever, different types of movements. Oh, my little guy is coughing. Hey, Reuben.
We found the dance, though. That's the dance.
That's the dance. Today. I'm going to have to end the show. I got to go take care of my little guy. I can't. My wife is out with one of her friends tonight. And that was a
wonderful program tonight.
I really enjoyed the talk.
We'll be back on Sunday.
That's right.
Great chatting, everyone. Sunday. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you Sunday night.
Between 8 and 9. Thanks for everyone who's watching right now. Talk to you soon.